bit of wind. I don't like even the slight breeze too much, because when I usually go on my morning and evening walks, I'm recording myself, and the wind kind of like ruins my audio quality. Let me make sure I turn on voice isolation. Yeah, yeah, I turn on voice isolation, which is like an iPhone feature, where like it tries to remove everything as best as it could. Um, and the key word there is as best as it could, because sometimes the wind gets too strong. But um, yeah, and today's been a pretty chill day, can't lie. Not much going on really, because my entire family is a bit busy. So, and I didn't really do much today. Like, I haven't messaged anyone from my friends to sort out anything, because I felt like I need like a well-needed rest, because of the past few days. Like, I've just been everywhere, constantly like high stress, high work, high everything. Just at one point you're gonna burn out, and I don't want to get to that stage. And I haven't gotten to that stage, but I don't want to get there. So, and I kind of learned from my lessons from, let's say, 3 years ago. I'm not sure, 2 or 3 years ago, where I worked like so hard to the point that I kept getting burnt out every like 3 weeks to a month. Um, and you kind of find your level of where you get burnt out. And I remember Alex Hormozy saying that burnout isn't really about a lot of hard work. It's more about doing a lot of hard work and not getting the results to the level that you expect. He says so, like the key thing to do is like to lower your expectations or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said word for word, but something like that, which I guess makes sense, because if you get an insane results, you wouldn't really get burnt out. You kind of get motivated to do more because it feels like progress. But when you just work very hard and you don't get any progress from it, or don't feel like you're making any progress, it can be very demotivating. So even though I am making progress on the channel, I am making like huge progress. Um, Subscribers are going up, views are going up, like the small fan base is kind of slightly increasing day by day, and I'm making progress. Even though some days I do streams, like this morning was one where I literally got zero, like not zero, but I got like very low views compared to my usual. But you have to expect that sometimes. Sometimes that's gonna happen. You're not always gonna have the best stream, even though you're growing. Growth is usually measured by the average in that, like, what's my average views this week and subscriber growth, and not based on just one stream. And it shouldn't be, because there's going to be like how I like imagine growth to be is literally this, like boom boom, or it drops, but it's like on average it's growing, but like when you zoom in there are huge dips and it feels like it's failure, but when you zoom out it's a growth overall. So hopefully it stays in that, you know, growth overall pace for quite a long time. Hopefully. But yeah, like today's title of the video is my life philosophy. And I'm not really gonna like talk about every single thing I believe in and how I'm gonna how it contributes to my life, because I don't have notes, and I just can't. I wouldn't be able to think of all of it in the back of my, like, from the top of my head. But I'd like to discuss a lot of them today. Like, let's see, like whatever I can think of, and then um yeah, and then talk about it. Let me think. What's a good life philosophy that I constantly live by. I mean, I guess one of them, which I lived by for quite a long time, but I don't know if I fully believe in it. I kind of like operate by it, but I'm not sure if I fully believe in it or not. But I might still do. I'm not sure. But it's the fact that your, like, happiness and sadness like live on this little seesaw. Or not a seesaw, like, you know, the pendulum, when it swings one way. When it swings one way, it'll swing the other. So the amount of happiness and sadness you have in your life are equal. So I don't think you should be aiming for happiness, because it's all like relative. So if you felt sad for so long and you've lived in poverty and everything, like maybe like a little treat of going to a restaurant would make you extremely happy. But for a person who's like lived an extremely rich life, that's literally nothing. and it wouldn't make them happy. Or like if you if you lived in luxury your entire life, um, living in a normal house might make you sad, but that wouldn't for a homeless person or make them happy. So I feel like happiness and sadness are all relative, and you should be like more building your life towards like fulfillment and contentment, things that are like more stable and aren't like don't constantly change from time to time. For example, it, for example, like making your family happy, achieving certain goals that you set for yourself, that will help your life overall. Instead of just like momentary things, because like if you just think about like how I maximize like happiness in this moment, you'll end up going down a path that will make you sadder in the long term. For example, drinking, drugs, like that might make you happy in this very moment, but it'll make you worse and it'll make you reach. A lot of people reach depression because of it, because of these addictions, in the long term. So yeah, so that's why like I say that you should never like really aim for happiness as a goal, and more things that like are a lot more stable, like fulfillment and contentment. Because as I said earlier, I feel like happiness and sadness just like are two like constantly changing things that constantly be moved, and it's very relative, and you can't really take control of it. It's not something you can control, but those other stuff are things that you can control. So yeah, that's why I say that. Oh, there's a man there that probably listening to me the entire thing. Hopefully he agrees. What other thing do I I mean, another thing is there's there's one that's a bit controversial, but we'll get to it later. I think that everyone like should get to a point where they truly internalize the fact that there are a lot of things that are much more important than money, and not only like think, oh yeah, that's true, but actually believe it. Because like I was watching a show, and it's called Outlast, Jungle, like the Jungle Edition on Netflix, and they had this thing where they had to stay in the jungle for ages, and you have to be part of a team so that you can win the prize. And if you're not part of, you get kicked out of your team. You have 24 hours to find another team. Blah blah blah. And there was this challenge where, if you do it, you kick one person out of your team, and what's it called? If you kick one person out of your team, you get this thing. Like you get ferro rods, which like create fire, or a bow and arrow. And there was a challenge that you really needed it in. So like people just start kicking out people of their team, even though like they built so much trust and so much of their friendship was based on it. Like they built so much up in friendship over 30 days. They've helped each other grow and try to reach this goal. And at the end, they just betray them, like backstab their friend, just so that they could reach further in the challenge. So they saw like the money as a lot more important than the friend. So I think things like that, I don't think I would have done that, even though like I'm not an extremely wealthy family. So people say like, oh, you don't understand, money's worth this. I could do so much with that money. Yes, you can. Realistically, you can do so much with that money. But there are things like integrity, and trust that I feel like are a lot more important, because there are a lot of rich people out there, extremely rich, that are way more depressed than we will ever be. And I've seen like documentaries of people like in Somalia running around, little kids who are pretty much near starving to death and have the biggest smiles on their faces, running around extremely happy and everything. So, you get to the point where money isn't really everything. It just isn't. Like, money cannot buy happiness. It can like reduce a lot of stress, especially if you're in poverty, which allows more room for happiness, but it cannot buy happiness in itself. Like, if you money can literally buy happiness, then you'd see the richest people be the happiest people. But that's not the case. It's not like a thing where you can trade money for happiness. The more money you have, the more happiness you get. People say that because, like, if you're in poverty, you don't have room to, like, you don't have room for happiness to exist because you're constantly like under pressure. That's why I think in those like areas where you're extreme poverty, it can reduce stress. And I feel like stress is a thing that stops you from being happy. But once it's like almost like it's like a bar that's like holding it down, and the moment you remove it, the room for happiness grows, and you can be as happy as you want. But that money initially does not buy the happiness at all. I don't think because that's like the controversial take where people say money can buy happiness. I disagree with it 100%. Like, I disagree with it with every single inch of my heart. Because and another thing, like, oh, if you had all this money, if you get given $1 million, would you be happy? Yes, I would be. But I'd be more thinking about, to be honest, that would be I haven't thought this through. Yeah, I still disagree. I'd still disagree with it, like based on all the points that I told you about earlier. But I would be happy if a person gave me $1 million. But at the end of the day, that still doesn't buy happiness. How does that work? Wait. Actually, I need to think this through. I mean, it would still go back to the point. Oh, hey, May. It would still go back to the point that I said, where happiness is a thing that's like all over the place, and it's something that you cannot control. And as I said earlier, there are millionaires who are depressed, and you can see people who are struggling in poverty who are extremely happy. But like, if you get $1 million, it's such a momentary happiness that lasts a very short span of time, and doesn't really like buy you any form of long-term happiness. If you get what I mean. Well, this has genuinely really confused me because I feel like I'm fighting an argument against myself. Because the May, if it's May that's actually listening right now, I was talking about like how I thought like money does not buy happiness because of the fact that there's a lot of rich people who are depressed and there's a lot of poor people who are happy, and it's all relative to what you've actually experienced in your life. Like, a rich person who lived in luxury will feel like luxury is normal, but the moment they go back to a normal house, they'll feel depressed. But a person who's homeless, who gets, to be honest, genuinely, I'm so contradicting myself right now. What the hell am I saying, bro? Yeah, well, this is a very, very complicated argument, because at this point, I could find a strong argument for lol. Like, I found like a very strong argument for my side of the fact where I say that money cannot really buy happiness. Because if it's a literal form of like more money equals happiness, then the richest people would be the happiest and the poorest people would be the saddest. But it isn't. It isn't the case. And I feel like it's just at the beginning when you're extreme poverty, money could remove the stress to allow you to be happy, but it didn't really buy the happiness. But then again, if a person gave you $1 million right now, you would be happy. Like, the whole thing contradicts itself. Like, the hell? Like, I feel like the argument for money doesn't buy happiness is stronger, but there are arguments for the other side still. But anyway, this is genuinely like, I've confused myself. I started waffling and I've confused myself more than I've actually explained my thoughts. But yeah, I guess that's extremely weird. I came into this live stream like with a bunch of points in my head of things like I wanted to talk on about, like my philosophy on life, And now, from how much this confused me, I forgot about every single other one. I really forget about everything that I actually took like a mental note of. I wish I could actually access my notes app while I'm on live streaming, but I can't because it's on my phone that I'm live streaming. But I guess, yeah, that's one aspect. And also, another life philosophy of mine. Don't take this like take this with a pinch of salt, of course, because I'm not a rich person. Like I've built like a few businesses before that were quite successful, but I kind of stopped them because I got busy doing other stuff. So do take this with a pinch of salt. But I believe like to be successful in anything, you do not need to be intelligent at all. Like I don't believe intelligence is a factor. Like of course you can't be stupid, but intelligence I don't think is a factor at all in determining how successful you are at anything. Because I've seen people, like I've seen like really, really successful people who are extremely stupid. Like I've seen it over and over and over again. And a million percent agree. Yeah, like I've seen like so many stupid people make incredibly successful. In fact, that's actually pretty common. And I know people who are extremely intelligent, like more intelligent than many people I've seen online, that work like normal jobs, like an electrician or a mechanic, and they're like the amount of intelligence that they have is like an amount of intelligence I cannot comprehend. Like they would talk about like such complex topics that would take me so long to understand in terms of at least when I was a bit younger, because I talked to more people like that when I was younger, but and now like I got into philosophy and this type of stuff. But I remember that they would talk about philosophical topics that are so hard to understand, and they're not that successful in anything. So I feel like the only thing that really differentiates successful people from non-successful people is like delusional self-belief, like that delusion where you go like, oh, this is just possible, even though realistically it's not possible. You just delude yourself into thinking that it is, to the point that you just start working it every single day, day in, day out, non-stop, until to the point where it's not delusional anymore because you've achieved it. Because I know a friend, for example, who's a bit stupid sometimes. Like when we were in lesson in class, I'll have to explain to him things over and over and over again for him to understand it. And then in the exams, he'd get higher grades than me. And the reason for that is because even though I understood stuff like faster, and he was like a tiny bit stupid, when he went back home, he just like constantly went over and over and over again, like he revised way more than me. I feel like that hard work and delusional self-belief is way more important in success than intelligence. I feel like people like overvalue how important intelligence is. There are people with a dog there, so I'm not. So the people like overvalue how much important intelligence is in success, and it's just not true. Like just from pattern recognition and looking at people around you and looking at successful people and studying them, you realize that yeah, it's more about delusional self-belief than intelligence. And intelligence, what is intelligence? Let me try to find it. I remember Alex Hormozy, I was watching a video of him, and he said intelligence is about how fast you can learn stuff. And it's not about how much stuff you know, because imagine like there's this person who just like knows a lot of stuff, like knows about geography, a lot about geography, history, philosophy, but since he was a kid, he was just put into a private school from his parents, and he was forced to do all that. And then you find like a person who's like an Amazon jungle, lived there in his entire life and wasn't exposed to this much information. Does that mean that person who's stuck in Amazon jungle there can't be a single person who's just born in Amazon jungle in that tribe that can ever be intelligent? So are you saying that intelligence does not exist now? Which I don't believe is the case. I believe that everyone has like an equal chance. You should start a podcast, I can't lie. I thought about it at one point, but I genuinely realized that like there's a lot of people start podcasts out of nowhere, to the point I feel like everyone and their mom starting a podcast, and the competition would be extremely high. But it is something that I'm considering. Yeah, I might just like kind of write all the points down that I want to say and just do it in a like long form video. And like, you know, like Diary of a CEO, where you just like bring a person up and they would just start speaking for hours and hours. I might just do that, but just like speaking to myself at this point. um, but yeah, that's what that. Getting back to my point, I feel like intelligence is something separate from where you grew up and like your environment. That determines how intelligent you are, and it's more about you. So if a person, so like if a person was born in a rich family and all that, and was forced to study every single day, and is like he knows so much stuff. If that same person was born in a tribe in Amazon jungle, would that mean that he's not an intelligent person? And that they're just and that they're stupid? Because if you brought them into our world, they'd just be considered stupid. But if you brought a person from our world who's considered intelligent, and they're probably not socially aware people because they just spend their entire life in their home just studying, so like they're not aware of things in real life, that are outside their home. So if you put that person in Amazon jungle with a tribe, they'll probably think he's stupid because he doesn't know how to start a fire and he doesn't know how to get food and all that stuff. Yeah, no, that's good because you have your points. I think you might have misspelled something. I don't understand what that means. But yeah, these are just like a bunch of random thoughts that I usually have. But let me think of another thing that I usually think about. To be honest, let me. I don't think that is the case. Tengen Nuzui, or have you said that? Don't bother with them. A lot of people in YouTube Shorts comments are sometimes kind of weird. But I'm not gonna I'm gonna mention a philosophical point right now that isn't to do with any like philosophical hot take that I have personally, but it's things that I've like read about in the past that's extremely interesting. But some of them are extremely hard to understand. So if I tell you guys, some guys might lose it and not understand what I'm saying, which hopefully doesn't happen, and hopefully you guys can actually understand what I'm saying. But so there was this philosopher. Let's start with René Descartes. René Descartes. I'm not sure if you guys are into philosophy, but he was like one of the first. He was a French philosopher, and he talked about the idea that what if all of this is not real? Like I'm pretty sure like you've had the idea before. Like what if the fact that I'm speaking to you right now, the fact that I'm walking and speaking to a camera, the fact that all this around me, the fact that even I exist is not actually real. And you might seem like this is like, that's another normal philosophical take that the person's just waffling, but it's actually really interesting. Just stick with me here. So he like said, what if like all of this is not real? Because he kept having this idea, what if a demon is just trying to control my thoughts and trying to make me think that all this is a reality, but isn't the case? Because he would have no way to prove that's wrong. Like I have no way to prove to you that isn't the case, and I have no way to prove to you that that is the case. It's like one of those things which a lot of philosophers in the past, like Freud, used to make like a lot of the arguments that they say are points that can't be proven right or wrong. So they're a bit like, so if no one can prove it wrong, it's not really science. That's like one main part of science. But what if this is the case, that everything around you is not true because this demon trying to control your thoughts? And he got into this existential crisis where everything around him, he'd constantly keep questioning and keep thinking, oh, this is not true, this is not true, this is not reality. Until he got to the point where he started thinking that the only thing that he can logically come to that is true, the only thing that he could logically prove is true, is that he exists. Because of the fact that if there's this demon that's trying to fool him into thinking that all this is around him, and everything that's happening is happening even though it isn't, then who is that demon fooling, and who is that demon trying to, or the wind's pretty strong, so hopefully the audio quality isn't affected. But who is that demon actually trying to fool? And of course it's him, because that's what he's thinking. He's like, what if this demon's trying to fool? Then him is a person. Him is something that exists. Even though even though that he knows that, like for example, I exist. That's what the demon's trying to fool. What is I? Like, is this body I? Is this like, are my thoughts? What is me? Like, what is me? All that he can come up to at the end is that he exists, but you can't really logically prove that anything else exists outside it. And of course, this is just like a thought experiment that you think about. Like, there's no point of actually there's no point, it doesn't bring any value to your life to think about this, because of course, if it is true, and of course we don't take it as true, because in science you need to be able to falsify something for it to be taken as true, and this one there's no way to prove it wrong, so you can't do it. Like for example, how do I say this? For example, if you say that SpongeBob is dancing on the moon right now, there is a way to prove that that's not true, and it is to, like, in this, you know, the space rockets that go to space and take videos, and we have footage of the entire moon, and we could see if there's SpongeBob dancing on the moon. That is like a falsifiable claim. That is something that you can actually prove wrong. Oh, hi Hope. That is something you could prove wrong. But when you say, oh, there's a demon trying to fool with my like mind and my thoughts, there's no way to prove that right or wrong, which means that that can't be classed as science. And if it is true, it there's nothing you could do about it, of course. And if it isn't true, then what's it called? Then just live your life like it is just not true. It's just but these things are a very interesting thing about. I've got another one to say, but let me wait. How did you do in your exam? I did pretty well. I posted the video about it before yesterday, where like I saw my results live, and I got it's a bit of a funny grade, but I got A, B, C. I got A in computing, B in psychology, and C in the computing, which I'm not really mad about, because the entire first year of college I did not revise a single bit. I did not touch no books. I did like maybe half the homework, and second year for the first half, I did my homework, but I didn't really revise. I only revised like in the last 3-4 months of before my exam started. So I kind of only have myself to blame that I got those grades. But OMG, well done. Thanks, mate. Thanks, Hope. But yeah, I got ABC, and the reason I didn't really focus on my like revision on the first year and first half of second year is because I didn't really have plans to go to university. I was kind of planning that after college I would just work on my business and work on my content on this YouTube channel. So which is going well so far. So yeah, that's why I didn't work on it, and my plan's still the same, because I thought whatever grade I get won't really help me long term. So yeah. But anyway, another, like the last philosophical take that I'll talk about, that is also another one of the, you know, the one that I talked about earlier, what if this is all not true? And it's very useless to think about, but it's very interesting at the same time, is, I think it's called Boltzmann brain, you can search it up. So it's this idea, this one's where a lot of people lose me. And just can't understand what the hell I'm waffling about sometimes. Some people get it, some people don't. If you don't, you don't, whatever. But, so, imagine that, of course, the whole world's made out of atoms, like a certain combination of atoms. And this philosopher, I forgot what his name was, said, what if in the universe there's this combination of atoms, and all the atoms split apart, and after they split apart, they form in a random combination again, and every combination of atoms that can possibly happen will happen. So in this universe, imagine it's just blank space, and there's these trillions of atoms, and they constantly like combine with each other in a certain combination and split apart, and combine and split apart. And there is, for example, if there's an infinite combination of atoms, that means every single combination of atoms that will happen, including the one where I'm standing here with my phone in this park, recording this video about the Boltzmann brain theory, and including the one where you're sat at home watching this on your phone or whatever device you're watching it on, and you're staring at the screen and you're in that room. That's a combination of atoms that could happen, that will happen from the infinite combinations. So imagine the world you're living in right now has only been a week old, and all the memories you have from before it are fake. Because every single combination of atoms that can happen will happen. There's a combination where you've got all those memories that never really happened. I got to go. Good luck with everything. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the support, supporting the live stream today. But anyway, if every combination that will happen, there's a combination where you're watching this video in your room and you have all these memories from your past that never actually happened. And some people tell me, oh, but you can prove it wrong because of the videos that you have on your phone. But you can't really, because I'll have to repeat myself again there. Because if every single combination of atoms that can happen will happen, there's a combination where you've got that phone and you've got all those images that are just a combination of atoms in that what's called in the storage. So I'll say again, if every single combination of atoms that can happen will happen, every single one will happen, including the one where you sat there with all those memories, with all those pictures and videos that prove those memories. And there's going to be a combination where you sat there watching this video with Elon Musk by your side, because that's one of the infinite combinations. It's cool. That's a fascinating theory. Yeah, it is a fascinating theory, but it's another one of those theories, like the one I mentioned earlier, where it's like, it's interesting to think about, but it's extremely useless. Like, if it's true, there's nothing you can do about it. If it's false, then thinking about it is just wasting your time because it's just not true. And it can't be proven right or wrong. So that, like, that's why it's, as I said earlier, it's not scientific. Anything that's scientific needs to be able to be proved wrong. In a way, there's a test that you need to carry out to prove it wrong, but there isn't a test for this one, so you can't really prove it right or wrong. So it's just like an all over the place theory that's just like, yeah. I've literally got an alert by the government on my phone. I'm guessing this alert has happened to everyone because everyone's looking at their phone. The government, UK government, have done this thing for a while where whenever something happens, everyone gets an alert that's in that area, and just said there's going to be a lot of wildfires in my area. So I'm guessing I need to go home right now. But anyway, this has been an interesting video. I really enjoyed actually recording this one. It's one of my favorite live streams that I've recorded so far. But anyway, pretty much it for today. And make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when I live stream next, which is probably going to be tomorrow, and when I start uploading videos starting in September.